Alexa, shut up. Thank goodness for that. Well, today what I want to talk about is basically something which is crucial, it's important, and it's something that you're going to benefit from, and I've already benefited from, because I don't even know what I'm chatting about, fam. Why am I trying to be a gas bag? I'm not even a gas bag, I'm actually a normal person. So today I wanted to talk about criticism and how to effectively deal with criticism. So it might be that I was prompted to do this because I get criticized in life a lot, and therefore I've had to evolve to be able to effectively deal with the criticism. Just wanted to show you that. So before we get into criticism, I just want to talk a bit briefly about something that you might have accidentally fell into, and I know I have definitely fell into, and that is something called the fundamental attribution error. This is basically when something happens to us, we attribute it to our circumstances, but when something happens to someone else, we minimize the attribution to their circumstances and maximize the attribution to their disposition or character. So for example, if I'm in a rush and I'm running across the road to get somewhere and be like, yeah, I did that because I was in a rush. But if James is doing the same thing and he's like running across the road and I'm driving, I'm like, this idiot, what is he doing? You see that? You see what I did? So for me, it's because I'm in a rush. For him, it's because he's an idiot. So that is what the error is. And sometimes when we're dealing with criticism, we can easily dish out criticism and we're like, oh, this person's an idiot. But when it comes to ourselves, we like to put ourselves on a pedestal. So that's the first part. Now the second part is actual criticism and how to deal with it. So when people generally have been dealt with criticism, they can either react positively, neutrally, or negatively, right? I don't really see another way. So in terms of different ways which people can react to criticism, one way is basically smiling and waving, just being like, and thinking nothing of it. The next thing that someone can potentially do is being completely crushed by it and actually physically showing this, like being distraught. Another thing that someone can do is be defensive. What are you talking about? That wasn't me. What? I didn't do that. No, are you mad? Another thing that someone can do is they can smile but cry inside. So like, yeah. And another thing that someone can do is they can be offensive. It's be like, what do you mean I did that? You did that, fam. Shut up, fam. I want to punch you up. Are you mad? Shut up, fam. I want to call my cousin on you. And the other thing that you can do when dealing with criticism is you can blame someone else. Nah, mate, that wasn't me, fam. That was Javon, fam. Javon did that, fam. Do you think I'm going to do that? Are you mad? However, a better way with dealing with criticism is basically taking a bit of time to process everything that's happened and make sure you're in an emotionally stable position, and then think about it, and then think, is this constructive criticism that I'm put up with, or is this destructive criticism that I'm put up with? If it's destructive criticism, then you can either just smile or wave, whatever, debate it. But if it's constructive criticism, then think about it and think, actually, this person is actually right. Like, I can actually benefit from them actually exposing me or whatnot. And if I benefit from this and I actually take this criticism on board, then I'm going to evolve as a person. So I know this sounds so simple, but in practice, in reality, most of the time, most of the people that you just generally come across, probably about 30% to 20% is a high number if they can deal with it properly. Loads of people, they just don't know how to deal with it. So, and it's possibly because generally in life they do things really well and therefore they're not accustomed to criticism. However, for me, I've messed up so many things, and therefore this allows me to basically, it forces me to accept it, criticism. Otherwise I'd just be like probably stuck in a ditch somewhere. Another thing is just a bit of science behind this. Is basically, according to some professor in psychiatry in California, the part of our brain that deals with emotions is the amygdala, and the amygdala also sends signals to different parts of our body. One of the responses is the fight or flight response, when it directs it towards a gland on top of our kidneys called the adrenals or epirenals or whatever you want to call them, and these glands produce something called adrenaline, and adrenaline basically puts us in a fight or flight response. So therefore, someone when they're smiling or waving or smiling and crying or getting emotional or something, that's probably like a flight response or running away from the criticism, and then someone wants to fight it, like offensive, defensive. So they're just basically laying back and not actively thinking about it and just going back to their instinctual senses and allowing that to happen. A cool thing about adrenaline is that it's called epinephrine in the States, in America. And another cool thing is adrenaline is basically adrenal, because the glands that secrete adrenaline are basically next to the renal, which are the kidneys. And similarly in epinephrine is basically epi, so next to, and nephrin. Nephrin is another word for the kidneys as well. So it's not actually that creative, but adrenaline sounds cooler. Like and subscribe, hit that button, share, comment below. Any suggestions? You know what's coming, right? You know what's coming. Get lost!